I just got back from the UK yesterday, so I'd like to talk about the EV situation there. This time, I rented a Model Y. I really did quite a bit of driving. I think I drove about 1,500 to 2,000 kilometers in total. It felt like I was constantly on the move in the car. Well, that's how it was. But first of all, I didn't have any trouble with the infrastructure at all. You know, when you're driving an EV in a foreign country, renting an EV like that can be quite nerve-wracking. But in the UK, well, at least for Teslas, I should add that condition, I had no trouble with the infrastructure at all, which was great. There were so many superchargers available. Usually, if you look for one, there's one nearby. They're almost always on the way to your destination, so you can just charge while taking a break. I felt like I could travel without really worrying about charging at all. Yes. And another thing is, as for another reason, I used a supercharger 3 times and a general charger once this time, so I charged about 4 times in total. The reason it's not as difficult as in Japan is that the standards are the same. In Japan, we have the CHAdeMO standard and then NACS, which is a Tesla-only standard, and while Flush uses 2 cables to solve that, in the UK, it's basically standardized as CCS2. It's standardized, and current Teslas also use this CCS, so you can basically use any charger without worrying and charge anywhere without needing an attachment. I felt that this really helps cover the abundance of infrastructure. I mentioned using superchargers 3 times and a regular one once. There were fast chargers at various commercial facilities, so in that sense you can probably just charge for a short time and it'll be full while you're shopping. So I felt that the infrastructure is very well developed, as you can charge in many different places, yes. And what was interesting was that some superchargers are actually operated by private companies. That's where I first charged. So I was like, oh, the superchargers in the UK aren't red. That's what I thought at first, but then I realized they actually do have a logo. It's a white background and there's a logo placed right on it. I did not notice this detail at first. Later on, when I posted about it on X, someone replied to me and pointed out the logo. They mentioned it was easy to miss if you were not really looking for it. Well, private companies buy superchargers and operate them independently, and these superchargers aren't just for Teslas. Other cars can charge there too. In fact, while I was charging, there was another car, what was it, a Volvo, I think, that was also charging. Yes. So in that sense, it's very interesting. On the other hand, at a supercharger I stopped at along the way, I'll post another video about this later, there were 16 superchargers and there was a lot of Tesla traffic coming and going, but right next to it, there was a new installation. 16 superchargers are currently under construction, and right next to them, 10 rapid chargers are being set up. Right, so here is what happened there. There were actually a lot of charging refugees, and I do not mean Tesla refugees. They were cars from other brands. I was approached by a Lexus owner, but there were also Volvos, Mercedes, Audis, and so on, all waiting to charge. Actually, there are 2 chargers there, but everyone comes over to the Tesla side to try and charge because the connectors match. So they plug them in, then they realize they cannot charge. This Mercedes owner was trying so hard, checking their app. Searching, and I think they were probably trying to download the Tesla app to make it work. But well, in the end, it did not work. It seems those Tesla chargers were not open to the public, so everyone just gave up and left. But as for the non-Tesla chargers, it seems like in certain places a charging refugee situation is already happening. Just while I was there, I wonder how many came. About 4 or 5 cars pulled up to the Tesla spot and tried to charge, so I really felt like they were quite stuck. I do not quite remember the specs of those 2 chargers, but a Leaf was charging there and it was getting 25 kilowatts. So there were probably 2 ports. There were 2 units with 2 ports each. So 4 cars could charge at once, but they were CHAdeMO and CCS. So if 4 CHAdeMO cars came, they could not all charge, and only 2 CCS cars could charge at a time. Even though 2 ports can be used at once, they only have CHAdeMO and CCS. So I really felt that was quite inconvenient. And I checked the speed, it was 25 kilowatts, which is quite slow, given those specs if one car uses it, really. If you have a 50 kilowatt hour battery, it takes about 2 hours. I think they were old chargers with a very weak infrastructure. So that is how it is. Since EVs are selling so well now, I felt like they are only now, conversely, starting to build the infrastructure. Right now in the UK, I think it was 23%. That was the new car sales rate for 2025. Well, they are selling very well, but if you ask if there are that many on the road, I am not sure. Compared to Japan, the ratio of EVs on the road felt similar to the ratio of foreign cars there, so I did not get the impression there were that many. However, When you go to places where people are actually looking for infrastructure, it is really full of EVs. Like, that is an EV, that is an EV. So I really felt that they are concentrated around that infrastructure. Yes. Also, while there were really many Teslas, there were surprisingly many BYDs too, and I felt they are selling quite well. Well, looking into it, it seems BYD overtook Tesla for the top market share this year. Tesla used to be number one, but since the start of this year, BYDs have been selling well. I saw a lot of BYDs. Yes, various models, maybe the Sea Lion 7 or 6. In that way, I ended up seeing a wide variety of different BYD models, including several SUV types as well as the Dolphin. Yes, that's right. And of course, there were also electric vehicles from manufacturers that I had honestly never even seen before. Yeah, it was really interesting. Well, for those I hadn't seen, I'm not that familiar with them, so I don't know much about these models, but the license plates are really easy to spot. Apparently, the older ones are different. New cars have a green strip on the plate, so you can tell right away it's an EV. So you can easily identify them as EVs just by looking, yes. Also in urban areas, like when you go into central London, well, there are areas where gas cars can't enter, or rather areas where it costs money to enter, but EVs can go in. There are places like that, and I guess the traffic congestion is quite bad. So there are areas designed with the environment in mind where only EVs can enter freely, yes. And in places where congestion occurs, both EVs and gas cars have to pay about 3,000 yen. That's how it's set up. That's how they were doing it. Also, something I found very easy to use in parking lots was the system of identifying the license plate and paying via an app was quite common. There are no barriers. For a moment, I thought it might be free, but no, it's through an app. You can also do self-payment. Yeah, it's a system where it identifies the plate and you pay. I felt that as long as you download the app, it's very convenient. Yes, that's about it. Also, well, you don't really feel it when you're in Japan. In Japan's case, taxes are being used now, so I have the impression that gas prices haven't become that high. But overseas, there are no such subsidies. So in the UK, it was 330 yen. That said, electricity is also expensive. It was about 150 yen per kilowatt hour, so it's probably a similar ratio to what we have in Japan now. Well, in Japan, or rather France, it's cheap at 44 yen, but generally it's around 80 yen, and gas is about 160 yen, so it's about double. And if maintenance costs become about half or a third, then even in the UK it's 330 yen, but yeah, the electricity cost is 150, the cost per kilowatt hour. It's the infrastructure price, it's 150 yen, but since it's about double, maintenance costs must be a third to a half. So with these high gas prices, people probably feel it's expensive every time they fill up. I felt that there are likely many people in the UK considering an EV for their next car. Yes, it feels expensive. 330 yen per litre is quite high, I think. Yes, so I've been to the UK. Regarding EVs, they're selling as a matter of course, and it feels like they've already become established. Yes, they're not rare cars to see on the road, they're just driving around normally. And the plates are different too. Even though there's some infrastructure, I could see that more still needs to be built. So I feel that a similar situation will probably come to Japan soon. Right now, even in large service areas, there are probably only about 6 chargers available. No, it's not just that. We'll need to install them in groups of 10, 20, or even 30, and well, it's becoming standard to see them in commercial facilities. I really felt that this sense of them just being there naturally is something that will likely happen in Japan as well, right? So with that, I'd like to continue bringing you updates like this. All right, thank you very much.